The hardest part of rebuilding your life isn't always the work. Sometimes it's the quiet moments after work, when the work is done. Drop a comment below saying, "Felt that," if you know exactly what I mean. Because you can get through the shift, you can get through the training, you can make the video, you can clean your room, you can go for a drive, you can do the chores, all the adult administration work you have to do. But then the evening comes, the house is quiet, your phone is quiet, and suddenly you're just sat there with yourself. And that's where it gets hard, you know. I think a lot of people underestimate that part. They think rebuilding your life is just about discipline, gym, work, money, habits, goals, which all matters. But there's another side to it, loneliness. You know, the loneliness where at the weekends you don't really have plans, all you do is work. The moments where you realise certain people are not around anymore. The times where you want some company, but you also know you shouldn't chase the wrong connections just because you feel a bit alone. And I think that's one of the real tests, because when you're rebuilding, you're not just building a better life, you're also learning how to sit with the space between the old life and the new life. And that space can feel strange. You know, you're not who you used to be, but you're not fully where you want to be either. You're somewhere in the middle, working, training, building, healing, trying, you know. And you're still having evenings where you think, what do I actually do with myself now? You know, I'm not one to be bored ever. I can always keep myself occupied, but I'm a human. I need human connection, you know. And it doesn't mean you're weak for wanting that. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you need to rush into something just to fill the gap either. Sometimes the quiet part is just part of the process. Sometimes you have to learn not to panic when nothing is happening, and take it as a blessing sometimes. You know, not to text someone just because you miss someone being there. Not to go backwards just because the new life still feels a bit empty. Not to confuse loneliness with direction, because loneliness can make the wrong things look comforting. It can make old patterns look tempting. It can make you want to fill the evening with things which are not going to be conducive to the future life you're building. And that's something I'm going through at the moment. And I'm sure there's millions of others going through similar things. The quiet evening doesn't have to become a bad evening. It can be food, a shower, clean the room, a walk, a video, a bit of rest, create some creative pursuit in some form or another, learn an instrument, a chance to not make anything worse. And maybe that does sound boring, because most of the time it probably is, but sometimes boring is exactly what your life needs. No chaos, no drama, not another emotional situation, just a steady night where you keep your peace intact. Because if you can learn to handle the quiet parts, you become much harder to knock off track. You know, you stop needing constant distraction. You stop needing someone else to help regulate your emotions. You stop running away from your own life. And slowly, you start building a life that feels solid, even when no one is there. So if you're in that place tonight, if you've done what you needed to get done, but now the evening feels quiet, you're in an empty house, maybe you live alone, and no one's blowing up your phone, you've got no one to go and see, don't beat yourself up over it. You're just a human. Wanting company is normal. Missing people is normal. Feeling a bit lonely is normal. But don't let that feeling pull you backwards. Use the quiet time. You know, rest, create, think, clean, recover. Get ready for the next day. Because sometimes the quiet parts are where the strongest version of you gets built.